Okay. I just spent the last half hour of my life on Joshua Sensei. And that is the last half hour of my life I will ever spend on Joshua Sensei. With that amazing news, it's time to move on to something else. Now, I'm entering this with a very open mind because there are very specific tags in here, not intended to be good. My first fanfic written for fun, and there's a disclaimer that it's slop. It is slop. So we might actually be able to get through a lot of chapters, but content-wise, it's probably going to be around 5,000 to 6,000 words. Without further ado, here we go. Fuck, what is the sex of the sensei? I mean, I'll give him a male voice because I'm male, I guess. Total assault done. No, it's too normal. It's too close to my voice. Total assault done. Time to sleep. Turn off the lights in my bedroom as I plop myself onto my bed after finishing Blue Archive dailies. It's a nice game. Gameplay's a little meh, but the story is fantastic. Makes you want to think about being in there. Live in Kivaris would be awesome. 5 more days until monthly reset. I mumble as sleep takes me. The noises outside my room wake me. I had thought it was my family or something until I realized, oh shit, I live alone. There's a home invader in my house. Upon that realization, I quickly grab a cutting knife from my table. That's there for some reason. Then cautiously make my way to the door. My eyes, still acclimated to the dark, took a peek out the door. It's still dark, but I can see that there's no one right outside my room. I step out quietly, my head swivels back and forth to scan for intruders. Up ahead in the living room, I see a figure. I prepare to ambush. But it was too late. A sharp, hot, stinging pain fills my chest. Warm fluid flows down my torso. I try to draw a breath, but it escapes me. Even with the adrenaline, the excruciating pain paralyzed me as I fall face down. The two intruders exchanged words, but the ringing in my ears only caught pieces of words in their mouths. Did you... No, not here. Am I about to die? Though my death would be a lot less exciting than this. Thought my death would be a lot less exciting than this. I'm just a regular old pencil pusher. No, not like this. No, not like this. Yeah, not like this. A proverbial fire burns in the hole where my heart was. A mantra voiced itself in my mind. If you are prepared to kill, you better be prepared to die. If I am to die, I will die standing. I have no intention of letting these men get off scot-free. It's too bad one of them has a gun. I fight the urge to lay down. Quietly, to my feet. My sight is leaving me. Quietly, knife in hand, my vision tunnels. Quietly, I lunge forward. My consciousness leaves me. And everything fades to black. So one of the critiques I saw while skimming the comments was that it's very fast-paced. And I will see like what the pacing is. I will make comments about that on my own. But it is expected that there's not a lot of... And I mentioned in the first review of Joshua Sensei that one of my biggest problems is actually being descriptive. I struggle heavily with that. And that's why my strength really lies in one-shots, where you have so little time in the story anyway, where you would prefer there to be more action than like descriptivism and slow burn. Like one-shots are supposed to be pretty fast-paced because it doesn't last that long. And I'm assuming this is basically like just a really extended fic of one-shot. Not length, but one-shot tone. So it felt like as if I'm falling down a black hole, surrounded by emptiness, neither cold nor hot. But then I felt a tug, a sensation of being pulled up, as if I'm surfacing out of water. And as I breach the surface of reality, Hazuki, wake up! I hear a young girl's voice, seemingly calling out to me. I groggily open my eyes. There you are. Come on, get up before the madam gets pissy. The girl before me looked very young, barely a teen. She had shoulder-length black hair and pale blue eyes. I had thought she looked familiar, and the glowing star-shaped halo above her head confirmed it for me. You go on first, Sayori. I'll be there soon. Wait, no, it's actually the person at the start of the story could have just been a girl. And they could have been isekai as a student. Now that I'm realizing. You go on first, Sayori. I'll be there soon. Okay, I'll wake the others. Sayori exited the room. So we're not in Kansas anymore, it seems. That line is so stupid. And since the girl that woke me was none other than Sayori, it seems I got isekai to give out the World Blue Archive. As much as I like to geek out at this, I should take stock of my current situation. The supposed bedroom looked incredibly dingy. Walls were covered in soot and stains, the occasional hole letting the draft in. The bed is just simply a futon over a bumpy metal frame. It looks so painful to sleep on, I was surprised it didn't already have immediate back pain. There's also another bed, along with a desk with drawers. I guess the monkey's paw here is that out of all the students he could have been, part of the Arius squad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Is there anything that's worse than being part of the Arius squad? You know, besides being Arius in general? I think not. Actually, this might be the worst case scenario. Like, I feel like being a random delinquent on the street might be better than Arius. Actually, almost certainly better than Arius. Pre-Sensei, pre-NV3. Next thing that came to my attention was myself. Hazuki, apparently. I took a quick look at myself. I am now a young girl, somewhere about 12 to 13 if my height and arms are any indicator. I don't know if this is like, if she's genuinely 12 to 13, or if it's just a nod to the fact that all the characters look like they're 12 to 13 in terms of height, even though they're all like 15. I don't know. I'll accept, Ibuki, Sora, the Stalin, the little Stalin, what's her name? Not Shinatsu. Chirino. I also appear to have white hair. No mirror in this room that I can immediately see, so I can't tell more. If I am where I think I am... Well, I can't give her the voice that I gave her the prologue. Man, dude, that voice was so stupid, too. I wanted to keep going. If I am where I think I am, I should probably get dressed and leave the room soon. I plucked a t-shirt and a pair of shorts hanging off the wall and change into them. I leave the room, seeing more of the accommodation I now live in, which appears to be a single-floor house. I see two girls walk out of one of the rooms, a brunette with a bob cut and another with light cyan hair tied in a side tail. I waved. Misaki, Hiyori. The two waved back. Good morning, Hazuki. The turquoise-haired girl smiled awkwardly. Morning, Hiyori. Oh, wait, no, that was Hazuki. Morning, Hiyori. You okay now? You got hit pretty hard yesterday, Misaki asked. Did I? I quizzically tilted my head. Apparently, I had my ass handed to me, enough to even factor yesterday's me. If I act strange, then you know what to blame. Seems like you're fine, Misaki said dryly. Come on, let's go before the madam gets on her butts. I went with Misaki and Hiyori to the assembly ground. There are also many others in attendance, all wearing similar outfits. There's a flagpole at the front of the grounds, flying a flag with a skull insignia with the words, Vanitas Vanitatum. It's Omnia Vanitas. If I said that wrong, or I lost. Shit, I say to myself. This pretty much proves I'm an Arius, and that's bad. Since Sayori and the rest looked incredibly young. Oh, that's why. It's like way before the events of E3. So we'll see Azusa, who's like even younger than all of them, right? Like by at least a year. Huh. It's a good few years before the start of the... Actually, if this whole story is about the lead up... Actually, no, but Beatrice gets clipped already. Well, besides that, if it's actually about the lead up before any of the main events happen, we'll get to see Mika, maybe? And there's no Sensei. So there's no Deus Ex Machina. This might actually be peak. And at this current point in time, Arius happens to be the worst place to be because of a certain bitch from Demetria, the one coming up on stage right now, Beatrice. The assembly started with a speech, some warnings, yada yada hatred, yada yada anger, and whole boring stuff and a waste of time. during which I organized my thoughts and future objectives. It appears that the factory reset from yesterday didn't clear everything. I managed to tease out a memory of our ages. Sayori is 14 and I'm just a year younger. The events of the main story in which she appears puts her at 17, so that puts me at about 3 years before the appearance of Sensei, where the game story begins. Oh boy, do I have a lot of things to do. I've considered protecting canon continuity, but I don't want to live like a POW. Also, since my name Hazuki is not one that appeared in the main storyline, and the fact that I'm grouped with Sayori means that my exist pretty much monkey wrench the canon anyway. The next logical step to ensure my survival is, of course, Beatrice's death. I can't depend on Sensei, that's at least 3 years away. Regular mystic weaponry probably won't cut it as well, what would Demetria having some weird voodoo BS to do with that? Which leads me to my next gambit, terror. If I can harness terror, it would mean that Beatrice can almost certainly be killed. One downside, however, terror is said to be irreversible. So that could possibly mean that I would be employing a method to avoid getting screwed over, only to get myself screwed over anyway. Although they did manage to save Hoshino, which showed that terror could be reversed. That gives me some hope, though I probably shouldn't bank on it. But Shiroko Terror ended up doing alright anyway, so it's probably not a big deal even if I do turn. It is important noting that Shiroko Terror turned out okay due to Phrenapates and by some extension Sensei. Without them, she probably would have gone completely off the deep end with the whole Gematria and Anubis thing. So I don't think your own mental acknowledgement of the existence of terror will help you. So I don't think this is a risk worth taking. Even if to kill Beatrice, you're cooked, and you might just end up cooking everyone around you. So I don't think it's a risk worth taking. Not just for yourself, but for the safety of your allies as well. How Hoshino turned terror is pretty much from intense negative emotions, plus having a very significant mystic. She was racked with so much guilt and self-loathing, it pretty much facilitated the transformation. I'll need to test if self-suggestion could make it work, though I don't know if my mystic is any good for that. I'll also need to decide when to kill Beatrice. Kill it too early and we blip out the events of the Eden Treaty, missing out on some of the sweet character moments. Kill her too late, we have to deal with the aftermath of the Eden Treaty, which sounds like a pain. Preventing the Eden Treaty, or not preventing the Eden Treaty just for some character development, I don't think that's a justified trade-off. Because for Mika, maybe, because Mika's character redemption arc is pretty strong. But prior to the events of the Eden Treaty, Mika was, naive, but she was still amiable towards Arius, more so than anyone else in Trinity. And it's and Arius' squad, they've always been good-hearted. They were never inherently evil. They were just following orders from Beatrice. Azusa's character development would be pretty important here. Without the events of the Eden Treaty, Azusa might actually be a little tougher to get through to. The rest of the Makeup Work Club needed that whole arc to become stronger characters, but given the devastation of the Eden Treaty, I don't know if that alone is justified. It's really more of a conversation between whether a near global, not global, but citywide calamity is worth the character development of a few, albeit very important people, a few students at most. It's a matter of perspective on whether those students are, relative to the person making the judgment, more important than the peace of the city. But you can also take the idea that there's also the possibility of reconstruction after the events of Eden Treaty. So maybe it is worth having the emotional development, which might never happen if the events of the Eden Treaty never occurred, and then just rebuilding afterwards. It's a whole conversation. Where am I? But you know what? Character moments be damned. See? That's a good judgment to make. Character moments be damned. It's also it's in the far future. And so it's you're not just preventing Eden Treaty if you kill Beatrice now. You're going to probably prevent a lot more stuff just because the fact that Arius is now no longer under Beatrice gives them a lot more free reign to either not wreak havoc or like actually have the chance to expand beyond everything else. But again, that's a whole 30-year conversation. I'm also living here now. I'd like to preferably make it easier for myself. Let's put the deadline at 1 year. I could also prevent a tragedy at Abydos while I'm at it. Yeah, with hindsight or with hindsight knowledge of what happens in Abydos, sure, but like you're a student, you're 13, you're not next to Abydos, you're not getting out of Arius, so it's like you're not gonna stop the Abydos whole death situation just because you know it's happening. Like Nanomi has a higher chance of solving it than you, and she's not gonna do it. Or at least she wants to do it, but the Hoshino won't let her. Just as I finished my thoughts, the assembly ended, and my supposed squad mates beckoned me over. Joining us beside Sayuri was Atsuko, a lavender-haired Arius royalty from what I remember. Apparently, I missed a part where Beatrice detailed the itinerary for the day, which included training. We'll be fighting Squad 7 today. Let's do our best. We might get something nice to eat for dinner, Sayuri said. I nodded along with the rest. Damn, it really is cutthroat as hell in here. That said, I am not going to let us starve today. Time to pull out the stops. Now, given the tone of Hazuki's character, it's really likely that she might be inept in combat. But given, like, she has a pretty good relationship, obviously she has a good relationship with everyone in Arius squad, but, like, the way that Misaki seems to be pretty... Like, the way Misaki treats her as, like, kind of like a emotional equal, you know, as compared to someone like Hiyori, it's possible that Hazuki is actually more formidable of a fighter, but we'll see. We made our way to the training grounds, where our opponent's squad is. Squad 7 sat around one of the empty spots and stood up when their eyes caught us. Oh, come to get your ass kicked again, Squad 8? The squad leader taunted. They number at 5 and appear about 1 or 2 years older than us, which certainly doesn't seem fair. But right, I'm in Arius. We all ignored their leader's provocation. Our squad got ready and took positions, and the word exchanged between us. But we do share one thought. We're gonna kick your ass. The squad battle this time will be focused on melee CQC. Sari takes point, Atsuko and Hiyori paired up, while Misaki and I took up free positions. Sari went first, attacking the opponent captain. Misaki and I supported her by taking on the opposing members that tried to flank her. Atsuko and Hiyori kept the rest in check, preventing any surprise attacks. I decided to immediately turn the tide by throwing sand at my opponent's face, then judo throwing her into the dirt. Self-defense classes certainly came in handy. The rest of Squad 7 were caught off guard, letting us sweep them with relative ease. And just like that, our squad won. Well done, squad. Especially you, Hazuki, Sayuri congratulated. Where'd you learn to do that? Not a damn clue. Maybe yesterday's beating did something to me. In any case, you're MVP today. Thank you, Hazuki. The squad did a group hug with me in the center. It's no big deal. A bell sounded in the distance. Oh, it's time for endurance training, Sayuri said. I do not like the sound of that, I said with an exhausted frown. At least we'll have dinner tonight. Chin up, Sayuri replied with a wry smile. I guess. We made our way to the other training ground. Surprising no one, it was horrible. There was some running, crawling, climbing, shimmying, and of course some beatings. Let this day end already. Evening arrives. We all take our bruised selves back to our accommodations. On the way back, I picked up a flat piece of metal that can be a substitute mirror. A bit of polish and it worked just fine, I said to myself. I look at myself through the shiny metal to see my own cute face and bright blue eyes with blue streaks in my white hair. We opened the door to our dingy shared house to find our box of provisions sitting in the dining living room, our so-called dinner with only MREs in it. Well, it's something at least. We went and got ourselves clean, then sat down for dinner. It tasted meh, but serviceable. Could be better, could be worse. But the rest ate it like it's the best thing ever. Note to self, remember to buy them some real food once I off Beatrice. During cleaning up to dinner, Sayuri approached me. We talked about stuff that happened today, traded some tactics and skills. Then she asked something else. Hazuki, do you think everything we do is meaningless? Very sudden, but advantageous to me. I could swear over to the light side. I guess so. We live, then we die. In the grand scheme of things, it is kind of meaningless. But within that large span of time between life and death, we could do all sorts of things, meaningless or otherwise. If you feel good about doing that something, then it's not really meaningless. Even if it's all in vain, we don't need to be chained down like prisoners, no? True. Sari cast her gaze downward and smiled a little, perhaps renewed with a sense of purpose. I look on with a warm smile, hopeful that I might have tipped her over to the good side. Don't snitch on me, though. I looked on smugly. I won't. She returned my joke with a giggle. Alright, you go to sleep now. I'll handle the cleanup. Thanks, Hazuki. Sorry, went to recorders. Alright, now for some me time. I threw the empty MREs into the bags, then dumped them into the communal trash area outside. I went and polished the piece of metal till it's shiny and placed it in my room. I look at myself through the mirror. The blue halo above my short white hair is in the shape of a pair of wings crossed over one another, and above that is a large X sign with pointed tips. Let's see if self-suggestion works. I close my eyes, hand on my heart, and look deep within my own self. I think of anger. I think of the things I hate, repeating them ad infinitum. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And then I direct it to someone else, Beatrice. My heart positively rolling in fire. A burning sensation envelops my flesh, my limbs trembling in fury. I can feel the ground pulse beneath my feet. I open my eyes, my visage curled in fury. My blue halo stained black with its wings unfurled. Black and terror flowed from my halo down onto my head, forming a pair of horns. Then further flowed down my back, forming a pair of black feathered wings. I did it. It hurts. I tried to move, but my limbs and joints feel like lead. I tried to move again, but I'm only managed to take one step forward before I fell to the ground. I can feel the transformation undo itself as strength leaves my body, now stuck in an awkward and painful pose. A pair of footsteps gather outside my room before I hear knocking on the door. Hazuki, I heard something loud from your room. Are you okay? Sari urged. Yeah, I'm fine, is what I tried to say. But the whole thing about being in pain kind of stopped me. I'm coming in. Sari enters, shocked by what she saw. Oh, Hazuki, you're bleeding. She helped me up. I'm fine, I'll sleep it off. Oh shit, I was bleeding? But I'll be fine, Sayori. I cut her off and assured her, hand on her shoulder. I touched my face to see red on my fingertips, but I need to wash off the blood. I'll help you. Thanks, Sayori. Sayori carried me down to the bathroom and helped me clean the blood flowing down my facial orifices. That's just completely not what that sentence says. Sayori carried me to the bathroom and helped me clean the blood flowing from my facial orifices. I must be in so much pain if I didn't even notice blood dripping down my eyes. After getting washed up, the pain subsided, enough for me to walk on my own. Are you sure you can walk? She asked with a concern. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks, Sayori. See you tomorrow? Yeah. Good night. She waved, then left. I slowly walked to my room, then threw myself onto the hard metal bed. Oh. I lay there, contemplating my earlier attempt. So it is possible, and reversible too. But maybe that's just because it didn't last long enough to be permanent. Whatever, I'm gonna sleep. So far, I am enjoying this. It provides a fresh experience of not only a student's perspective, a student that we don't even know, a student that doesn't exist in the main story, but furthermore, a time before the actual events of Blue Archive. I've wanted to explore a student perspective, but I haven't thought of doing it within a time period that takes place before Sensei's arrival. So this is pretty interesting. Arius is a really nice avenue to explore, even if you consider chapter 6 or volume 6 or not. Because I haven't read volume 6, so I don't even know what goes on in Arius. But regarding that or disregarding that, Arius is such an unexplored place, much like Gehenna. Gehenna is the one place that still does not have a dedicated volume. Arius got one first. So Gehenna and Arius are both these really mysterious places that have a lot of potential for, what is it called? A creative expression, creative imagination. You could do pretty much anything you want. And also this Terra Mystic thing, mostly because Blue Archive has so much potential that if you decide to like mess with the details a little bit and play around with it, you can achieve a lot of cool stuff. So this whole like controllable terror aspect is pretty interesting. I assume it's not only going to be used for one-shotting Beatrice. I do assume that there will be more use for it, maybe to solve some other problems. I am though a little bit worried that the terror thing will be used to just like one-shot every single problem that all these characters have, like the Abydos problem, the Millennium to some lesser extent because it's just Rio. But then again, like Rio could be stopped with a terror effect really easily. The Valkyrie, I don't really know what to make of the Valkyrie problem, the SRT problem. But like, if she's able to control her terror form like this freely, like the Abydos problem is just negligible because she can demand whatever she wants with this ability. I don't know if that's going to make a lot of changes to like power dynamics in this story, and if whether people are going to try to harness this terror ability, or if it's unique to Hazuki, or by the time Sensei comes along, if that happens soon or way later, how that affects the whole dynamic as well. And if Hazuki's going to become like the student president after the GSC president, or if there's actually going to be an external Sensei who Hazuki is going to become just one of the regular students, regular in quotations, as she is. Clearly not a regular student, but I think we have time for one more chapter. If it's not, oh wow, this lasts like 30 words. Okay. Observe, if you will, the daily life of an Arius student. 7 o'clock, assembly. 8 o'clock, training, squad battles. 9 o'clock, endurance training. 15 o'clock, miscellaneous training, including beatings. 19 o'clock, end of training, getting rations, and going back to my dorms. My dorms. Sorry. For the past few weeks, this was my life. I'm surprised we don't have a mass grave already, what with this sweatshop-like schedule. Perks of having a halo, I suppose. Oh, and there's not really any distinctions in age like regular schools do. Everyone is here regardless of age, no middle school or high school, just suffering. We don't really get much free time aside from Sundays, but even then, it's heavily restricted due to a little thing called corporal punishment if even one person goes out of line. I'd rather not have my squad mates take the fall just because I was a tad curious. I'd love to check if there's potentially I'm making so many mistakes. We don't really get much free time aside from Sundays, but even then, it's heavily restricted due to a little thing called corporal punishment if even one person goes out of line. I'd rather not have my squad mates take the fall just because I was a tad curious. I'd love to check if there's potentially familiar faces here as well. Suzumi used to be an Arius in the beta version, so I'd wonder if I'd see her here. Though it'd probably be better if she wasn't here, this place is ass. I didn't know that detail, and that's probably why Suzumi is in the character tag list, but another thing is the fact that Suzumi is in beta implying that she later escapes and becomes a regular student Trinity? I suppose, right? Because if this is the same timeline where Suzumi becomes part of the vigilante crew, then that implies that she becomes a long-standing member of Trinity. So maybe she escapes in a couple years. But the thing with Beatrice like getting tapped by Hazuki and everyone being a little freer, maybe that makes the influx of Ari students to Trinity way larger. Although with the whole prejudice, I don't know how that's going to work. That said, there are some fun moments with the squad. About a week ago, I snuck out with Atsuko to pick some flowers. Stealth training came in useful. I was lying in bed on a Sunday morning, resting from the bruises I keep getting during training. Then I heard a little knock on the door. Come in. Oh, it's Atsuko. Morning, Atsuko. What's up? Good morning, Hazuki. She came in holding a little white flower. I was wondering if you know where I could find more of these. I think I might have seen some near the main building, around the outskirts. Though the thing is, we're kind of not allowed there unless we're told to go. She cast her eyes downward with a pout, like a cute little animal. I can't win against her, can I? It's a bit risky, but might as well give it a go. You want to sneak in there? I suggested. Atsuko's eyes widened in surprise. Are you sure? We can just treat it as extra stealth training. Atsuko found it humorous, I suppose. We left the house and made our way to the main building, careful to avoid the guards around the area. As it turns out, I'm pretty good at this. I can close my eyes and approximate the positions of others through my other senses, kind of like radar. Perk of my mystic, perhaps? We took our time making our way around, making sure none of the guards catch even a hint of our tracks. After a bit more stealth maneuvering, we found a little clearing where the white flowers grew. While keeping quiet, Atsuko's eyes lit up. I gave her a nod, signaling that it's okay to grab some. After picking a few blooms, we went back where we came from, straight back to the house. The two of us giggled to each other as we closed the door behind us, pleased over our successful stealth mission. Though it did kind of get nerve-wracking at some point, we almost got busted because our halos were sticking out. Thank you, Hatsuki. Here, have one. She handed me a flower, accepted and gave it a closer look. It's small, but pretty. She holds the flowers close and takes a whiff. I hope they stay in bloom for longer. You could press them together. It'll preserve the flower. Can you teach me? I give Atsuko a cheerful smile. Sure. I don't know if that's a true fact about botany. If you press the flowers together, they'll be preserved because, like, nutrient sharing? I don't know. Fun little moments indeed, but also surprising moments. It is late at night. Outside the house, I sit under a tree, waiting for a guest. As if on cue, the surroundings turn even darker, as if the moon was obscured. A figure emerged from the darkness, his face illuminated from the light seeping out of his glass-cracked face. Good evening, Black Suit. Well met, Miss Hatsuki, said the man in black. I see that you are keen to meet me. Since I never existed in the original story, and Black Suit would be keen to observe anything out of place, I bet on my existence sounding like an alarm in his head. Glad to know I was right. I'd like to make a deal. Intriguing. Oh, no. I'd like to make a deal. Intriguing. And what, pray tell, will you bring to the table? He'll definitely bite this one. I can show you terror. The man in black widened his eyes in surprise. If he had eyes, that is. In exchange, I ask... Oh, that's not him. In exchange, I will ask for Demetria to lay low for 3 years, remain in the audience seat, if you will. The man in black is pleasantly surprised at my words. He had a look that said, You even know about us. Now why don't we shake on it? I hold my left hand out. He takes my left hand in his and flinched a little. He realized his palm had been cut. Both of us released our grasp, and he sees that my hand is also bloodied. The implication does not escape him, and laughs maniacally from the fact that he got played by a child. To think he would secure it with a blood pact, he maniacally exclaims. Transactions to the person of your caliber is never fair, so why should I play your game? I responded with a smug grin. The cracks in his face grow deeper, as if angry, yet he maintains his business smile. That said, mind humoring me? Oh? His curiosity piqued, erasing prior hostility. Say I kill Beatrice. What will you, and by extension Demetria, do? He squints, if he had eyes, that is. I can't say we'll turn a blind eye to that, he uttered with a hint of hostility. Even if her interests are detrimental to Demetria? Elaborate. She plans on summoning Chroma. He may not show it, but he's definitely taken aback. How? No, that does not matter. Very well, we shall stay our hands, should you decide to kill the madam. Oh, cut the shit, you crack-faced lunatic. You plan on removing her anyway. One last thing. What is the origin of my mystic? He put his hand on his chin as he looked closer, and has a look of surprise. Ho ho. How such a magnificent mystic remains hidden beneath our noses is truly a mystery. Oh, so my mystic is pretty good then? The origin of your mystic is Lucifer. What? Hold on, you mean Lucifer as in the morningstar, the first fallen angel? Why yes, your knowledge in regards to mystics is quite impressive, Black Suit chuckles. That's one hell of a bomb job. As much as I don't relish the experience of being played into your hands, I am truly excited to see what sort of terror your mystic will bring. May we meet again, Lucifer. The figure disappears into darkness, and the moon lights up the area once more. I stood there dumbfounded for a while before returning to my bedroom. Very surprising moments. Oh, this one's kind of short. We can get through this one as well. Some short description of people getting stabbed and dying. Unlucky. A few more weeks have passed, and I'm doing alright. Physically dying, but mentally spry. I wish I could say the same for my squad mates. At some point, the education's intensified. Even from the Eden Treaty storyline, there wasn't that much that was told about how bad Arius was. I don't know everything, so I had been expecting the worst. Even that could not prepare me for what I saw. Their eyes hollowed, and the glint in their eyes had gone away. The color of their eyes darkened, no trace of the colors I saw when I met them for the first time. Unbeknownst to me, I was making a very pained expression, which caught their eye. "Oh, Hazuki," Sayori blurted weakly. "What did they do to you?" I looked at them in slight horror. "Oh, it's fine. It's just a bit of exhaustion is all." Sayori weakly smiled as she replied. "I wasn't with them because I was punished with extra training from a little stunt I pulled yesterday. Now I wish I hadn't done it. I need to do something, anything, to alleviate this. No one should be forced to experience this." I held each of them close in my arms, with this fervent desire in my heart, to have their pain go away. Their eyes widened a little before their eyelids dripped shut, and their limbs slackened from exhaustion. I hope this did something. I carried them to their rooms and tucked them in. I returned to mine and lay on my bed. I made a silent decision. Tomorrow, you will die, Beatrice. Morning comes. The assembly will be the perfect time to get rid of her. All will be there to see and know. I put on my clothes for the day with a bit of determination in my heart. I walk out of my room and greet my housemates. The look on their faces seemed a little brighter. Good. I go in to hug them. They are slightly taken aback, but accepted them. Sayori spoke first. "What's wrong, Hazuki?" "Whatever that may happen today, will you guys stay with me?" "Perhaps it's my selfishness speaking, but these girls are more than housemates to me. More than squad mates. They're my family now, my dear sisters." "We will. We might as well be sisters, no?" Atsuko smiled. "Thank you," I said, teary-eyed. We head on to the assembly. Before we fall into place, I asked them a request. "Whatever I'm going to do, can you guys remain still and be my witness?" They were confused by my request, but acquiesced nonetheless. Beatrice stands on the stage. I approach. Her booming voice rings throughout the assembly grounds. "I do believe you're standing out of place, Nagayo Hazuki. What pours out of my heart is not hatred. No. I no longer need to hate. Just anger, on behalf of my friends. There's nothing further than that, nothing complex. My friends, my sisters, they are hurt. Beatrice is a source of their hurts, and I just want her gone. The halo on my wings unfurls. The 4 points of my halo twists, forming a shape reminiscent of wings. Then, it all darkens. Still standing on the stage, eyes wide, she motioned her guards to stop me. A pair of wings sprout from my back. All eyes widen, and all present felt a pulse. One that urges them to remain silent, remain still. "You dare?" Beatrice tries to move, only for her limbs to feel like lead. A pair of curved horns materializes onto my head. I point up. All present look to the twilight sky. A bright scar twinkles over their heads. It grows bigger, bigger, until they realized it wasn't growing bigger. It was approaching them fast. "What in the world are you trying, child?" "No more. No more shall we suffer your rule. No more shall we bear this falsified hatred." The morningstar approaches closer. Its corona shrinks as it falls to just a few meters from the ground, right above Beatrice. "Arius shall be free." "You brat—" Her words were cut off by a loud boom. All present shielded their eyes as the star fills the ground with light. She was definitely screaming in pain, but the blinding light was too loud to hear. The light slowly dissipates, revealing a body smoldered by light, still squirming. Blackened terror gathers around my left hand and shapes itself into a spear. With both hands, I drive it straight through her heart. Her squirming form now lays still. There's a certain horror to it. I had thought the time I spent here made me numb, maybe forgot how easy it is to kill someone. Turns out, I never did. I looked to the crowd. Some are horrified. Some are overjoyed. Some had the eyes of someone who reached the light at the end of the tunnel. Some simply looked on with calm, jaded eyes. I decided to speak. But what? I have no fanciful words that'll always be right, so I speak my heart. It's okay now, everyone. You don't need to follow her teachings anymore. No need to hold anger that isn't yours. No need to harm another to live. No more unreasonable punishments. Let her voice that resides in your head die. Let her disappear. You, me, and all of us, we are free now. A wave of relief washes over them. Tears stream down their cheeks. They no longer have to fight each other, no longer have to beat up each other for scraps. They can embrace each other as friends, as sisters, without fear of punishment. Some are listless, some are still trying to break out of old habits, but that's fine. That can be improved with time. A group of 4 rushed towards me. My squad, family, sisters. They jumped into me, arms outstretched, embracing me wordlessly in tears. I returned the hug. I'll be fine, guys. Thank you for staying with me. My voice shakes, a tear flowed down my face. We released each other from our hug. Misaki spoke up. This look, is it permanent? I don't know. It could be, but I'll try something. I look around. The rest of the students are still around, and I'd like some privacy to clear things up. They shouldn't need to see any more of this. Hatsuko picked up on my intentions and called out to everyone present. Everyone, let's return to our dorms for now. We'll gather later or tomorrow to talk about how we move on from here. But for now, we rest. The crowd disperses, some carrying those too weak to walk. And within a few minutes, the assembly grounds are clear. You guys go ahead too. The 4 looked with worry and protested. No, we can't let you do this alone, Yori shouted. Let us help, Sari requested. I give up, I suppose. Alright, can you grab me a gas can from the garage? Misaki and Yori nodded and walked to the garage. They then returned with a red gas can and a box of matches. Thank you, you two. I opened the lid and poured the contents onto and around Beatrice's corpse, then placed it on her. Of course, taking care not to get gas on myself. I step away, match in hand. I strike it and let it glow up in flames. We silently watch, letting the fire take her corpse. Once we felt like we were done staring, I tried thinking of ways to return to my usual look. Perhaps the Bird of Hermes, or something symbolically similar? There's a symbolic phrase linked to the Bird of Hermes, and it sort of implies self-bondage. Could probably be used to restrain terror. I grabbed my horns and broke them off with great effort. 2 loud cracks could be heard, and the 4 looked at me in horror. Are you okay, Hazuki? Yori exclaimed. Surprisingly, it didn't really hurt. Yeah, surprisingly. I then proceeded to my wings. It took a bit of effort due to it being attached to my back, but it came off with some black ichor dripping from the stump, and without much pain as well. Safe to say, the rest are shocked and look on in abject horror. I take the horns and wings in my hand and silently chanted. The Bird of Hermes is my name, heating my wings to make me tame. The wings and horns melt together, giving birth to a mass of flowing metal. It eventually settles into the shape of 2 black cuffs, with a small bit of chain dangling off each one. There seems to be some engraving on the cuffs themselves, resembling Hebrew script in blue. So, these would be my shackles then. I put them on. The fog in my mind clears. No, I never really had brain fog in the first place, but it felt like the sensation of having finally breathed the real air. The real air. The stems of my horns and wings clear away. My halo returns to its usual form, its usual color. I could hear him. It felt like an enormous weight had disintegrated above my shoulders. The relief made me weaken the knees, and I passed out. I could hear Sayora and the others call out to me, but my consciousness drifts off. This is a really short chapter too, but I think that's a good place to end it off. I think the charm of this fanfic and what makes it easy and satisfying to read is the premise is somewhat simple still. It's nothing too complicated. The execution is also rather simple enough. It doesn't overcomplicate with like the novelty of being isekai or the horror of being within the Arius training regimen. I read, like I said, I skimmed the comments and I did read some that do say it's very fast paced. I think I mentioned that earlier. And I do understand what they mean. I mean, Beatrice is off by chapter 4. And I know there's that author's note. That's like a little funny call to the whole number symbolism. But narratively, it is a little soon that Beatrice is dead. But I do understand that the plot isn't centered around like the terror under Beatrice and how to recover afterward. The premise of the story is around just the story after Beatrice. And, unlike a story I've covered before, Repent, where the backstory and whole revenge thing happens within the same chapter, we get a little time here to get into the idea of what happens within the society and how Beatrice treats everyone. I will say, like, because we know what Beatrice has done to Arius, it does make killing her justified. And there are enough details to justify the fact that she is a tyrannical ruler. But, like, if, say, someone doesn't know anything about Blue Archive or Arius, taking the story with that lens, not that much has occurred to justify this whole killing, right? Like this symbolic death of the old Arius. Like, as bad as we were told it is, we didn't actually receive enough to be told that. Even though there's that one small scene right before the kill scene, even though the scene right before it does show like Arius suffering just a little bit, it's a really small snippet and it doesn't really make that experience sink in, but it was alluded to. So overall, I think it's like sufficient. It's not particularly amazing, and obviously, as we've mentioned, that isn't the main point of this fic. It isn't particularly amazing in what it attempts to achieve, but it achieves something pretty novel, and it executes it in a way that is at least satisfying to read. And in this case, I think it's fine. There's a lot more to go through, so we will definitely keep going in the future. What the why is it in my caps lock? So yeah. That was fun read. Like, I didn't really complain about the story much. I didn't really complain about any of the way it was written. I left that to what I just discussed now. And obviously there's a couple of points you can make about it, but there's no major issues I have with this. So very satisfying, and I am intrigued to see what becomes of Arius after all of this. If, there's still some conflicts with the old squads, or after the fall of Beatrice. I will say, I know everyone was tormented under Beatrice's rule, so it's just a huge breath of fresh air for her to be gone. But, like, just the fact that Beatrice created such a violent environment, I feel like some of those violent tensions should still remain in some of the characters. If it doesn't, there's some justification as to why. But as for all of that, we will see how that goes in the future. And for now, we will conclude this episode. Thank you for being here, and we will continue maybe with something better, something worse, or this.